Oliver Trieb is wild about vintage American sports cars, in particular Corvettes. Long and lean, every young man's dream, she turns every head in town, as the Corvette song goes. The 50-year-old engineer collects everything connected with this Colt car, and the car itself. He owns models ranging from 1964 to 1996. His personal favorite is the C2, known as the Sting Ray. It was built from 1963 to 67. Whenever the hard-driving businessman has a moment, he takes his darlings out for a spin. Oliver confirms the Corvette was his childhood dream. He saw one as a small boy and instantly fell in love. Then he started collecting everything about them he could find. He emphasizes it's an absolute classic, pointing out that in American sports car circles, the C2 was something like the American Porsche. In comparison to other comparable cars, it handled very well, but at the same time, it was affordable. The very first model Corvette, now known as the C1, was presented by its maker Chevrolet as a show car in the 1953 Motorama display at the New York Auto Show. The concept for a sleek two-door style body of fiberglass mounted on a stable box frame has been kept right down to the current generation of Corvette. By the early 1960s, the original look was out of style. Chevrolet called upon its design head Bill Mitchell to revamp the body. He drew inspiration from an earlier concept, the Q Corvette, and from a Mako shark he'd caught while fishing. But the name Sting Ray came from the Q's nickname. It was the first Corvette available as a coupe. The new Corvette kept the familiar tapered rear, but little else of the first generation. Oliver Trieb had his 1965 Bahama Blue Coupe completely restored in the United States and modified to his specifications. He'd rather not go too far into the V8 big blocks engine's performance, which he describes as adequate. Oliver's model is known in U.S. classic car circles as a sleeper, lots of power and highly original contours. Oliver's no Sunday driver of Corvettes. He knows the mechanics inside and out and takes care of maintenance himself. The classic Corvette's powertrain is relatively simple and easy to work on. Oliver explains that it's easy to fix because everything is so accessible and parts are really available and generally affordable, with the exception of the chrome trim, stainless steel parts, and certain special body components. But the mechanical parts are cheap and uncomplicated. The engineering is durable and robust, but the Sting Ray does have some weak points. In the frame, for example, which can rust through in some places. The fiberglass body doesn't rust, but it can turn brittle with time. Oliver says a few spots are vulnerable to stress cracking, especially the tips and edges, around the headlights, for instance. And there are certain sensitive spots, like where the large panels transition to very narrow parts. He points out how opening and closing the doors can lead to cracks. But otherwise, the body is quite sturdy. The Sting Ray has lost none of its fascination. It's still the everyman's sports car, but the design is unmistakable. The muscular sound, too, and of course, the Vette mystique.